We'll go ahead and call education to order. It's 6:03. I guess we need to go ahead and accept Mr. Tester as filling in for Mr. Von Cannon.
I'll make a motion. We accept Mr. Tester for Mr. Von Cannon.
I'll second that. Nancy Brown.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. I attached the March minutes. Was the last time we had a meeting with the agenda. Well, I guess we need to approve the agenda first.
Make a motion to approve.
Second, Nancy Brown.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Did everybody have the opportunity to look at the minutes from the last meeting in March?
Yes.
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 I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting in March.
I'll make a motion for it.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, ma'am.
Second, Sandra.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Yeah.
opposed? Is there any public online that wants to comment? I don't think there's anybody else on there. Dr. McCabe, if you'd just like to update the committee as of what's going on with the opening of the school, we'll move on from there.
Absolutely. So I don't know what Dr. Ward did normally when he gave updates, but obviously I think everyone's concerned about how school is going to start. So what we have is, I think there's a lot of confusion. So maybe this committee could help us dispel some of that or help with the confusion. It's my understanding that for a couple of years, Carter County's had an online academy, and then just the traditional brick and mortar schools. So this year with COVID, what we have done is I was able to, or I say I was put in charge of some of these things. So the supervisors are helping me tremendously. But we have purchased some digital content for every student in Carter County, so that really there's no difference between online academy and regular kids right now, because if we have to go complete virtual, all the kids, no matter if they're Unaka, Happy Valley High, wherever, they're going to have the same types of content across the county, and they'll all be doing that online, except for those obviously that do not have internet service. We'll do certain things for them on a case-by-case basis, but otherwise everyone can have the same content. Now, if COVID goes away someday in November, December, sooner, hopefully, but let's pretend that COVID finally goes away, at that point, we may can separate out into having an online academy where kids just are doing the online thing and never come to school. And then we can go back to having kids in our building. But until then, it's going to look like mostly we're going to be online. So how that works is like this. We have many folk who may not have technology in their homes, and so we're going to provide that technology. And there's some who do not know how to get on our platform that's called Canvas. So what we want to do is practice social distancing as much as we can. So over the first week of school, the 10th through the 14th, we're going to bring in 25% of the students on Monday, a different 25% on Tuesday, and so on. And then Friday, all the kids will just be virtual, and teachers can debrief with me and tell me the things that went well and that we need to work on. So you can imagine a teacher that has 20 kids, she's going to have 5 students a day, a Monday, a different 5 Tuesday, and that type of thing. So we can really spread those kids out. And I know COVID is a concern now in Carter County. It seems like we're turning into a hot spot. Mm-hmm. So that's our theory, is to just get the kids trained on how to use the online platform and then get them the technology that they need. So we're going to do that. The plan is for 2 weeks to do that. And that'll give kids, they'll be on campus 2 days over those 2 weeks, 1 day each week. And then if numbers are not better, it looks like we'll be going virtual for a while. And till we see if we can help get these numbers down. Now, did I muddy the water, or did that pretty much explain some of the things you're hearing out in the community?
I just have one question. Will all the students be doing the online academy if COVID continues, or will there be I guess, the hybrid type option for the children who are planning to attend in person when that's available? So
really, the way we're starting out is probably what most would consider a hybrid model, where you're there a day and then you're home a lot.
Yes.
So every kid will be doing the hybrid the first 2 weeks. If numbers do not get better, we're going to all be virtual until those numbers begin to come down.
Perfect. Anyone else
Any
have
other
any
questions for me?
All right. Do we have enough of the computers to go around to every student? I know that in some of the other counties, they've had issues with getting what they need.
Right. Miss Nancy, obviously there's just a rush on this type of technology all across America. So I'll give you the long answer instead of the short one. We've ordered a lot of technology. It's not come in yet. So what we did is we sent out a survey 2 different times to parents, asking them, do you have a computer or a laptop in your home? And would you be willing to use your own? And that would help the school system and our community out. We've had a lot say, yeah, I've got my own computer. I can use my own for a while. So now what we can do is we have about 2,000 Chromebooks and laptops that we can give out to families who have nothing. Now, the ultimate goal is to provide technology to everybody, even if you have your own. But we're just asking those parents or those families that are willing to use their own for right now to help the school system out until we can get, I think we have about another 3,000 ordered, but they've not come in yet.
Great. The other question I had is, do you think that there are have we lost a lot of kids? I mean, that's not willing to do either at this point, the online or the going inside the school?
We don't know the exact number until that first week of school. Preliminary, I asked Miss Amanda in the office if she could check with every school and run some numbers. And she said the best she could calculate, it looked like around 5,100. And then last year when I looked, it looked as though Carter County ended up the year with around 4,800. So if anything, we've got a few more. Now,
Oh, that's great.
those folk may change their mind as this thing moves forward, but right now I don't think we've lost any and probably gained a few. Actually, I talked with Mr. McLean. He's doing some of this for the high school. He said he's had kids sign up from Knoxville and several other districts to do our online academy.
I tell you what, I really appreciate everything y'all are doing, because I know this ain't been easy, and to try to get it together to keep our kids learning, I really appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you. And the community's been great. And you guys, when I've been able to talk with people on the commission, you've been very supportive. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. If there's ever anything we can do, don't hesitate to ask.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you again for the explanation about how we're going to start. So good luck with all that.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Does anyone else have any questions?
I don't.
Okay, and if there's no new business for the Education Committee, that will conclude this meeting. I'll just look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make
I
the
make a motion to
motion.
adjourn.
I'll second it. Nancy Brown.
All in favor of adjourning the Education Committee? Okay, Sandra, it's all yours.
All right, Layla, thank you. I guess we've accepted Mr. Tester. Probably for the record, Gwen, go ahead and call you the roll, because that way we'll know who's not here.
I'm going to send it back to you. Send it to you. Hang on. Sandra,
Yes.
I think Mr. Blevins is trying to get in a call in on the Zoom meeting.
Okay. Oh, okay, good, good. I'll tell you what, let's take just a minute and we'll wait on him just a second, then we'll let Gwen call the roll officially. I think he's the only one we're missing, I know, but since you took Mr. Von Cannon's place, but we'll wait just a second so we can add him. Gary, is that who you were talking to?
Yeah, I'm actually was texting Mark the ID number right then, him trying to call in, so that's.
Okay, very good. We'll give you a second then.
I may hang up and try to call in again so I can at least get a video for this thing, visual.
Okay, we'll resume in about 5 minutes, Jerry.
All right, I'm gone. I'll be back in a minute.
And I just sent Mark and Mark Tester and Mark Blevins both have that meeting ID number, so maybe they can get that.
You mean Jerry Prophet?
No,
Mark Tester?
I sent to Mark Tester and to Mark Blevins the meeting ID number.
Oh, okay, because Mark Tester was on here and I didn't realize he needed it.
Well, I think Mark Blevins texted him to see what it was, and he didn't.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I didn't have the proper information to give him.
That's all right, no problem.
My poor old eyes are about killing me. We've imaged computers trying to get these ready till I've looked at a screen till, I mean, they just hurt.
Gary, what does Mark have to do to get just to call in on the phone? Just dial that.
Well, if he dials just the phone number and it should ask him for a meeting ID number, he just puts that in. It should join.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it is.
I believe that's on the email that Abby sent out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an 877 number, and when you call in, it'll say, please enter your meeting ID, and then you enter that 478 or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right. 478-766-9850.
No,
Hey, Abby, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Mark, we can hear you. Very good.
Oh, okay.
Jerry, are you back?
yeah, I'm here, but I can't see nothing.
That's fine, as long as you're back.
That's better for all of us.
All right, I think we've got everybody.
If you're calling in from a telephone line, you won't be able to see the video.
Okay.
I'm calling you via cell phone, and they asked for an ID or number or something. I got in, but there was another number that they asked for I wasn't familiar with, so I didn't have it.
Okay, I think we're all here. Gwen, go ahead and call the roll and let's make sure, okay?
Mm-hmm.
David Miller. Jerry Prophet.
Here.
Nancy Brown.
Here.
Charles Von Cannon.
That'd be Mark Tester.
Mark Tester.
Okay. Sonia Culler.
Present.
Mark Blevins.
Present.
Layla Ward.
Present.
Gary Bailey.
Here.
Okay, very good. We've got a substitute for Mr. Von Cannon, and Mr. Miller's not here, so we have a quorum. You should have received my agenda by email. I don't think I have any additions or deletions. I'll ask Benny to verify that. But at this time, I'll accept an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Nancy Brown, second by Mark Blevins. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, very good. Also, I hope that you were able to find your July minutes. At this time, I'll accept the motion to approve the July minutes for the landfill meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mark Blevins,
Second.
second by Gary Bailey. Is that right, Gary?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Again, that is a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. I'm like Layla, I don't see any public on, but we will ask if there's any public that would like to speak. Okay, I don't see any. I assume Abby would verify if I was wrong, so we'll move on then. On the old business, the first item is a tipping fee. As you recall, during the commission meeting, I asked to have that vote delayed. Benny checked with Blue Ridge, and that was one of our biggest haulers, and they were not going to be able to sustain that amount of money. They are under a little bit different amount. But while we were discussing that with them, they said they could handle a $250 increase. So that's why I asked if you would delay the vote. Benny and I discussed it. We think the best way to get around that is just put it as a $250 per ton increase. So if you're paying $42.50, then yours would go up to $45. If you're paying $41.50, it will go up to $43. If you're paying $38.50, it will go up to $41, I believe. I'm doing that very quickly. And they would stay with us if we would do it in that manner.
Hey, Sonia.
Yes, sir.
How much is Blue Ridge paying currently?
Benny, can you answer that for us?
Miss Kohler, let's see here. Hang on just a second. I'll pull that up. They are currently paying. Get it pulled up here. Give me just a second. Bear with me just a minute, please.
All right.
Blue Ridge is currently paying $33.60 per ton.
Okay. Who set that amount for Blue Ridge to pay?
Mark, that was set several years ago. Basically, the committee at that time told me that I could let them came in at the same rate the city of Elizabethton we'd placed a bid for then. So that's what their rate is currently.
Okay. Are they was there a contract?
There is no contract.
No contract. Did the commission approve that rate, or do we know?
Yes, they did, as far as I know, Mark.
I believe we did, Mark.
Okay. I don't think it's right that Blue Ridge and these other people get to set a rate. I think we need to set a rate, go straight across the board with it with everybody, because we can't keep running and running the hole. We can't do that.
Mr. Blevins, can I explain something to you there?
Yeah.
Just like we get a rate at the landfill we go to, it's different probably from all the other 5,000 people that goes in over there. They do that based on the volume that you send to them. It's kind of like if you buy 1,000 bullets per se versus going and buying 20 bullets. You're going to get a better price for it.
I understand that, Benny, but I don't think, we're spending a lot of money at the landfill, and we just ain't taking in what we're spending.
Benny, how much is Blue Ridge bringing in? We looked that up the other day, and I don't have it right here. I don't think.
I've got it right here. Give me just a second.
In the last 4 months, this is what he's going to tell you what they brought in.
Ms. Culler,
Yes.
I do have a question.
Okay.
What does it cost us per ton to process and do that trash? And I'm talking about labor, I'm talking about benefits, I'm talking about fuel. What does it cost us if you include the whole package per ton? What is the county having to pay to process this trash?
Mr. Tester, that's probably going to be a question that Mr. Brad Burke could answer.
Okay, well, I mean, if we're losing money on Blue Ridge, you can look at the amount they bring in, but if you're losing money on Blue Ridge, then, as the old saying goes, you have to get a bigger truck to make money, but, you're going in the hole every ton you take in. I mean,
well, we're not losing money on Blue Ridge, Mr. Tester. We're going to lose Blue Ridge if we raise it to $45. But let Benny tell you how much they bring in.
In 8 months, and the reason I've done this on an 8 month, this is when we put our new computer program into operation at the landfill. 8 months, and that's from November 2019 through June 2020. Blue Ridge brought in 4,518.35 tons. The cash that was brought into the landfill from Blue Ridge was $151,816.47.
Benny, if I can ask, can everybody hear me? You
Yeah.
said they brought in 4,918 ton?
No, 4,518, Gary.
4,518. Okay, that's what I needed, was just the tonnage.
Hey, Benny, now how much profit did we make off of that?
Mr. Blevins, without our loader guy, okay, he loads all day whether Blue Ridge is going to be there or not. He's there all day. He has to be. To get the trash transported over there in our trucks is around about $26 a ton.
Okay, now what profit did we make? Do you have any close to a figure of what?
Mr. Blevins, I do not have that in front of me.
Benny,
Well, if you figure your manpower, your fuel, your truck, and everything, I don't see letting somebody pay $30-something. I'm for raising it, flat across the board, a certain fee for everybody, and we'll just have to get us a fee together, see what we can come up with here tonight.
Benny, am I correct when you discussed this with Blue Ridge, when you said we were going to $45 a ton over across the board, they said they wouldn't leave?
He plainly told me that they would leave and they would drive straight to Bluntville.
on the road again?
So we would lose over 151, almost 152,000 right off the bat.
Now that was 8 months worth, 150,000 was.
Now, we
May I
ain't losing that much because you ain't taking in consideration what it costs you to dump it, and the manpower and everything we got. So if you add all that in, there ain't no way we'd be losing that much.
You're exactly right.
That's right.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Go right ahead, Mr. Prophet.
Okay, considering what Blue Ridge, the tonnage, say over this 8-month period, what they bring in, how much or how many other companies bring in that would be comparable to Blue Ridge? I don't know how to put this in words, but if you average out the tonnage being brought in, where does Blue Ridge stand as far as the most, and who does second? And I'm just wondering if there's more. There has to be more than one company bringing in.
Blue Ridge, and the city of Elizabethton are the two main haulers.
Okay, and what's I hate to ask you this off the top of your head. Could you tell me approximately how much tonnage Elizabethton would bring in? Just off the ballpark, if you've got an idea.
Give me just a second here, Mr. Prophet, and I'll find that. I had it here. Hang on just a second. Let's see. I don't actually have Elizabethton's tonnage. I do not, because they're under contract. Okay.
Now you've got several. Well, I'll say 2 or 3 different independent companies, so to say, that bring in. They would be somewhat less, maybe not, because I've seen trucks all over the county, you know, picking up garbage and stuff. So these smaller companies that don't bring in as much as Blue Ridge, then they're going to be asked to pay a higher fee than Blue Ridge simply because they don't have the volume that Blue Ridge has. Is that about right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Everybody is.
Hey, Ben.
Well,
yes, sir.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time, Benny, but I just wondered how this would be actually fair to the smaller companies. I know that Blue Ridge, like I say, they're bringing in a lot. But the smaller companies, you know, they're struggling too, and we're going to increase this rate to them and let Blue Ridge slide. And Blue Ridge has said, if we don't get where we want, we're going elsewhere. So, you know, I just don't understand that. It doesn't sound fair to me, but whatever the committee or commission decides to do, you know, I'll be with you, but I just don't see this as right.
And guys, you all make the decision. I work for you, so that's entirely up to you on what you want to do.
Hey, Benny.
Yes, sir.
How much is Elizabethton paying per ton?
Elizabethton is under contract at 34 until August of this year, and then they actually go up. I don't remember what theirs jumps up. It's like 75 or 80 cents come August, but it jumps up. It goes up every year the way their contract was set up.
Yeah, I know that went up every year. Now these other companies that the hauling trash in, they're paying like $41.50 or $42.50.
$41.50. Your main other haulers that I would say that visits us every day, which is Affordable Trash, C&J's Trash, Herman's Trash, Wynn's Trash. They're at a rate of $41.50.
Now, let me ask you another question. Before, when we went up on this, didn't Blue Ridge pull out and leave us once before?
Well, they pulled out when we went up to $37 a ton, or when we went up to the $41.50, they pulled out.
Okay, they pulled out.
Yes, sir.
I don't see that the taxpayers of Carter County needs to pay a company to be in business here. If they don't want to do business with us, I mean, naturally we hate to lose them, but I don't think we need to pay them to be in business with us. The taxpayers of Carter County don't. You know, we're
Benny,
throwing tax money.
May I ask a question? Have you talked to the other haulers, Benny, about the increase?
I have talked to a couple of them, and we talked about the $2.50, and they're okay with that.
Ms. Culler?
Yes.
I do have a little bit of concern here, and I'm just filling in, but I was on the budget committee, and when we set the landfill solid waste budget this year, we took $245,000 $25 out of the general fund in order to support the landfill, the solid waste, and everything. So there's at least a $245,000 shortfall right there in revenue. It is almost impossible to make a good decision when you do not have a cost per ton that it's actually costing you as far as business. I mean, I'm talking about, you need to know how much per ton that it's actually cost the county. That's benefits, insurance, tires, gas, everything. And then you might be able to be more fair with these people, but you know, in actuality, you're taking taxpayer dollars and subsidizing a private for business entity.
Yep.
Benny,
Mr.
do you want to
Tester, let
address
me
that?
address that. You talking about putting money into the funds for the landfill. I don't know if you was on the last meeting we had where Kim Rea came up and talked about how all the landfills across the state of Tennessee are subsidized by their county government. We are one of the only ones that does not have a set amount subsidized by our county government.
Now, Betty,
You're also one of the only ones that runs a transfer station. A lot of these other landfills has their own landfill. So therefore the cost is cheaper for them.
now, she said that we weren't the only one. She said we were one of the few. I did go back and watch that video. And she also said that in her numbers that she had, that we should be between $50 and $60 per ton. Now, I know that you can't do that. I mean, but that's what the lady from the state said, because I did go back and watch the video. I was not able to be at that meeting, but I did go watch the video and look at everything. And but long and short, if you do not know how much your product is costing you, it's hard to set a rate to where you can break even or make money.
I agree, sir. And we've not had a raise at the solid waste department 10 years.
Yes.
Been unheard of.
I know, Benny. I know.
Can I ask a question that anybody knows? Benny, you said Blue Ridge said they would leave and go to Bluntville.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you straight off if you know what Bluntville's rate per ton is and any surcharges?
Guys, here's the deal. Their rate may be $19 for us. It may be $22 for another company. It's going. Their actual gate rate is 40 something a ton.
40.
If you come in off the street, pull up to their scale, it's 40 something a ton.
Benny, in your opinion, when you say 40 something, is that 41 or is that 47, 46? Give me something roughly.
Gary, the last time I talked to him, I think it was like 42 something a ton. Just say 42 a ton, and
Okay.
then there's an environmental fee. And there's also a state, there is
So all
a
in all,
state
they're about
surcharge
$47.
on that, somewhere in the neighborhood of $47 to $49 a ton.
Okay.
But Benny, am I correct in saying if Blue Ridge goes, they won't pay that?
They won't, because they'll get a rate of somewhere around in the neighborhood of $25, $30 a ton.
Just like we do.
Right, because of the volume they take in over there. And which I can't price another landfill's material because I don't know right off my head.
Benny, hang on. You
Yes,
think they'll get a rate of how much a ton?
Gary, and that's me trying to price another landfill stuff. I know what our rate is at $19.60 something a ton right now. So they're going to be in the ballpark with what we're paying now.
Yeah, but if they was saving that much money and you're already charging them $33.60, why ain't they going now? I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm sitting here saying you're charging them $33.60. If they can get 22, okay, that's $11.60 less. So
You're right, and they can only haul around 8 tons on their trucks.
Okay, then somewhere there's a savings of over $11 for him not to run that over there already.
And Gary, I don't know what his savings is, but I do know the last time we raised the prices on them, they pulled out on us.
I don't want them to leave because they're a Carter County business and they employ people there. And I know you're caught in a rock and a hard place. But here's the thing, if it's costing us more to run it than we're bringing in, then something's got to give. I mean, in your opinion, and I kind of agree with Mark and all them, I mean, we need a set rate across the board for the county. And, you know, I'm not saying the 45 is the right number. I'm just sitting and saying until we know what everything is costing us, how do we know what this number really is? I mean...
Gary, a lot of our big costs in the solid waste department is putting Band-Aids on wore out equipment.
I understand it. It's like your dozer and stuff. When you already got something wore out, it's costing you more to run it.
That's a lot of our cost.
Right.
Because nobody's ever had the forethought to take money from the county budget to put into our department to fund equipment upgrades. Nowhere, no time has it ever been done. Unless something breaks and you have to have it right then.
Okay, now I'm not saying I'm going with this, but if you was to raise them, okay, they're at $33.60. Let's sit and say they was to raise $3. That would be $36.60. See, you ain't even to the 37 to
You're
what?
right. That's right.
I mean, but my point is how do we charge one company one rate and somebody else? But now I am agreeing with, there's two sides to the story. When I buy computers, I buy them in bulk. I get a little bit off, but it's not no $10 or $12. It might be $1 per ton. I could see them paying at their rate. I could see them paying $39.50 or $41 or $40, but 33 when everybody else is at $41.50. That's why the $11 gap or the 12. That's, I mean, if they produce that much tonnage, to me they should be somewhere. They should get a break per ton. But on the other hand, they still need to pay their fair share of what it's costing the county. So,
oh, I agree.
I mean, I can see them somewhere in the $39 to $40 range, bringing that much. But $33.60, there's no way we can survive at that.
Well, if it costs us $19.60 to unload it, yeah, we're surviving.
But we don't really know if it costs us $19.60. That's what we're paying per ton. How much do we have in fuel? How much do we have in tires? How much do we have in paying the man, the insurance? I mean, that $19.60 a ton is just our dead straight cost. But do we really have $19.60 in it, or do we have $26.60 or $28?
You're going to have closer to $26 per ton in what we're taking over there by the time we truck it.
I was going to say, and you have to realize that we have to truck it no matter if Blue Ridge is involved with us or not.
But here's an advantage. They got to truck it also.
Well, has anybody got in mind what we want to set it at?
Okay, can I ask you a question? If we was to go up your 250 that you're talking about, Mark, but Blue Ridge goes up 33.60, that'd be 34, 33. If we took them to 37.60, would everybody agree with that? They would go up $4. Will they stay?
I don't know how you can word it to do that because you can't.
The contract is what we got.
No, wait just a second. You can't go in there and say we're going to raise it to $250 for everybody except Blue Ridge. That you can't have a motion like that. What we're trying to do is make this to where everybody's going to be halfway happy and under the same thing. We can say everybody's going to be raised $3, and then in the beginning of next year we're going to raise everybody another $1. And eventually we're going to get to where, you know, it's going to be big enough to take care of everything.
I agree, but Blue Ridge still is not, to me, paying, I mean, there's an $11 and something difference to them. I don't see the tonnage that they're going at $11. To me, somewhere we got to close that gap with them. I can see a $2 difference or a $3 difference, but 11? That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not against nobody here. It's just, to me, they ought to be up around the 37 mark. And then if we done the 2 or 3.
Well, to be honest with you, so should Elizabethton, but they got us under a contract. Until that contract's up, you know, there's not much we can do about it.
And you said Elizabethton was how much?
Gary, I'm wanting to say
$34.
$34.60. And Elizabethton does go up this year.
Right. But even them, as much as Elizabethton's bringing, Blue Ridge ain't even paying Elizabethton's price.
You're exactly right.
I thought they were the same, Benny.
Now, actually, what happened was when that price was put in, that was the first time we ever put a bid in on Elizabethton. And that's when the committee decided to go with the price that we'd give Elizabethton at that time.
And I mean, if we go just straight across the board, and I agree with that, if we just sit and say we're raising the rate $2.50 for everybody, what's going to happen is Blue Ridge is still $11 and something less than everybody else.
Exactly.
Well, guys, let's do
Blue Ridge. It's just,
I mean,
do this. Set Blue Ridge's price, and when a time comes for them to pay that price, if they leave, we'll just have to figure out a way to make it.
all right, I want to ask this, Ms. Kohler, you're chairman of this. Can we negotiate a contract with them for a year and see how this works and set a rate? And Mark, Ms. Kohler, can we do that? If the city can do it, why can't we do it?
Benny, can we set a contract with Blue Ridge?
I can tell you, Mr. Blevins had asked me to talk to everybody about doing a contract. These folks are not interested in signing contracts.
If they don't want to, they can pay the scale price. If they want to do a contract, we will sit and run it for a year. We see how we're doing. But to me, I think Blue Ridge needs to be about $37.
Miss Kohler,
Yes.
you entertain a motion.
Go right ahead.
I make a motion, we put it straight across the board at $43.50 per ton. Quit arguing about it.
$43.50.
Yep.
Motion is to set the overall price at $43.50. Mr. Blevins, may I ask a question before I ask for a second? Well, that's okay. May I have a second?
I'll second that. Profit.
Profit. Okay. Now, let me ask the question and then we can get in discussion. Are we still talking about adding $1 every year for a while, or are we just setting it at $43.50 and coming back later to visit?
Set it at $43.50 and come back later to visit that.
Okay. The motion is that we set the price $43.50 for everyone coming into the
Miss
landfill.
Kohler?
Yes.
Miss Kohler?
Yes.
And this household garbage, we're charging $1 per bag. I'd like to also put that motion in there to leave it at the price that hits that, at $1 per bag.
Guys,
Okay,
can I say something on that?
Go right ahead, Benny.
Since we're working on this price fixture, the price of our contract goes up every year.
With who, Benny?
With advanced disposal. It goes up every year. So while we're working on this contract, or while we're working on this price, we might as well set it to where every year, 1st of July, our gate rate goes up so we can stay in line with what our contract is over there.
Exactly.
Benny, profit. Could that not be based on the annual? Could that not be based on the annual cost per living? Could we not maybe go over that as far as the increase per year?
I don't see why you couldn't do that. I mean,
Do like a 3% increase every year, Mr. Profit?
Well, that's what I was going for. You know, that's what we all expect to do anyway on everything else. So.
Okay, now we've got a motion right now, and this is a motion that we've increased the cost at $43.50. Now that doesn't say anything about a yearly increase, and it doesn't say anything about the per bag increase like for Rome Mountain.
Well, could we add that in on this motion?
If you want to change your motion,
Yeah, I'll change my motion to $43.50 per ton, 3% cost of living increase, and leave the baggage, household baggage at $1 per bag.
Mr. Prophet, do you agree with that to also second, or would you withdraw your
Well,
second?
I failed to get what the cost of a bag is now per garbage.
It is $1 now, and at
And
the
we're going
last
to-
month's meeting, we had voted to increase it $1.25 to
And-
$1.25.
And we're going to continue that rate, $1.25 or $1. I got
$1
confused
is
on
what it is right now.
Okay. Well, I'll second that motion if it's
Okay,
if I'm required.
someone said my name.
Ms. Kohler, this is Gary.
Okay,
Benny, if we leave it at $1, and I have no problem, 25 cents don't make or break the thing. It's the, are you doing okay in the transfer stations? And I mean, you're going to have to really think about this, at what's coming in, at what it's costing, phones, internet, people. Are you surviving on $1?
You're talking about the convenience centers, right, Gary?
Yes.
Rome Mountain and Little Milligan.
Yes, or are we pulling money from other places to prop it up? Because it is time that we start taking care. If that's, we got to know which one's making money and versus which one isn't. You see what I'm saying?
Here's my only thing about that. If we want to be fair across the board, do you think it's fair for the people in Watauga for their rates to go up and the people in Little Milligan and Rome Mountain for their rates not to?
Nope.
No, I don't.
Well,
Will
can I
somebody
change
give me
my
some
motion?
answers on that?
just a second, Mr. Blevins. Gary, did you have something else you were saying?
No, I was just trying to figure out here. I mean, if we've got to figure out which department in his department is making money or costing money that we need, because are we adjusting the right one? Is the rate set right? Because we've got to start breaking this down for fuel, people, time, bills, so you know. Because to be honest, it might be that we could have got away with $40 a ton there and really needed to be $1.50 on the bags. And I'm not saying that's it. I'm just saying until you know what it's really costing you to get rid of this stuff, how do you know which one we need to raise and lower?
Benny, can you address that in any manner?
As far as the convenience centers, I can't right now. I can probably get some figures on that, but
But you're just talking about being in fairness to all people.
well, I mean, if everybody wants to be fair with everything, you know, I feel like it ought to be fair across the whole county.
Well, I want to ask this: is the
Sorry,
other
Nancy. Wait a second. Go ahead, Nancy.
okay? Is all the convenience centers like their metal containers and all? Are they all?
You
We lost
broke
you,
up, Nancy.
Try it again, Nancy.
In case you can hear us now, the metal, you know, that's free. We're just talking about the bags of trash is $1 a bag, and that's the same everywhere. Is it not, Benny?
Yes, ma'am. It's $1 a bag in Little Milligan as well as Rome Mountain.
Okay. Nancy, are you there?
We lost her.
I'm afraid we have two.
Somebody turned their power off.
All right, Benny. So going back to what you're saying on fairness, can you explain what you was talking about right there? Because I'm a little confused with.
Well, and I have not a dog in this race as far as how you can set the price, okay? But if you want Blue Ridge to be equal to what the other haulers are paying, that's being fair across the board.
So
Is it
basically what he's saying is if you're going to increase the haulers, then you need to increase the people who bring it. Is that correct, Benny?
Well, I mean, if we're going to have one set price for everybody coming in there, then that same price should reflect in Rome Mountain and Little Milligan.
Well, I have to agree with him. I mean, if we're gonna raise it, that's...
Well, can I change my motion, withdraw my motion, and make a new motion?
All right, you're withdrawing your motion?
Yeah, and I'm gonna make a new motion.
All right, what's your new motion? Gwen, are you with us?
My new motion is raise it straight across the board at $43.50, 3% cost of living each year, and raise the household garbage to $1.25 a bag, and that way everybody's have to pay equal.
Do I have a second?
Yeah,
Wait a minute, who is that? Benny, is that you, Jerry?
Yeah,
All
well,
day.
I think
Okay.
Terry did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nancy, are you back with us? I think we definitely have lost her. Okay, the motion is that we set for the haulers at $43.50 per ton with a 3% yearly increase, and $1.25 per bag at the convenience centers. Any further discussion?
I think that's very fair because the haulers don't have the overhead that the big haulers have, the smaller companies. And so they don't really have, they are not paying out as much to keep their equipment going and everything as, say, as Blue Ridge and others. So, you know, they should be paying the same as everybody else, I believe, if that made any sense.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Gwen, if you would call the roll, please.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
I believe we've lost Nancy.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
All right, with the exception of Nancy, that was
Mark.
unanimous.
What about Mark Tester?
Oh, I'm
We-
sorry, that's right, Charlie Von Cannon. Mark Tester, Gwen.
Mark
He said
Tester,
yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sorry, Mark.
That's all
Thank
right.
you. Okay, we will take this to the commission at the meeting in August. So I will take the commission for $43.50, 3% yearly increase, and $1.25 per bag increase.
And when will this go into effect?
I think last time we said October. We didn't say tonight, but I don't think we could possibly get it in before October by the time we meet the commission in August and then let everybody be notified. Does everyone agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we'll say that this goes into effect in October.
Okay.
Benny, you think you can work that out?
I will definitely send out the letters and let the folks know.
All right, thank you very much. Next
All right,
item on the
Charlie.
agenda, excuse me?
Sonia, I've got one more question, if you don't care.
That's fine.
And hey, on going across the scales over here, I went across it one day and never was offered a receipt. I went 3 times. And I think we need to discuss something about giving out receipts to the people that comes across to where we can keep track of everything a little better.
Benny, you want to address that?
Yes, I addressed that with the girls in the office after I talked to Mr. Blevins. I know when the COVID first started, the girls had chose to try to basically not have the less contact they could with folks. But I have instructed them everybody should be offered a receipt. Now, if they don't want a receipt, you have some people comes up on the ramp and they have their dollar hanging out the window as they drive by the window at 5 miles an hour. So sometimes you can't give them a receipt, but
I understand.
when that money comes in, there is a receipt printed inside the building on everything. Just as soon as they punch it in the computer, it prints a ticket.
May I say something? May I add something?
Yes.
Okay, as far as receipts go, why couldn't they post some kind of sign, receipts will be issued on demand? Otherwise, no receipt will be offered. Just if they want a receipt, they can stop and get one. Is that
We have to give a receipt. We have to for the audit, and that's part of the process that we've got to keep receipts for everything.
Well, then if they're not getting the receipts, you know, I don't understand why. Like myself, I never get a receipt. I just go on. But say some companies would require a receipt. I just thought maybe you'd have a sign up where if they wanted one, they'd stop and ask for it. Otherwise, it's trash or whatever. The problem with that?
Well, now, the way that works, Mr. Prophet, even though they don't take a receipt, we still print 2 of them out. There's actually a double copy printed. There's one printed out for the customer and one printed out to go in the box to keep on hand.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. It's
Let me just address that as chair. Benny, just make sure that the girls are offering the receipt. I know it was kind of trying times back the last couple of months, and I know you all are right in the middle of it, having to see people every day. Do talk to them about.
Yes, ma'am. I most definitely will.
Or at least just ask.
I'll reiterate that first thing in the morning.
Is that sufficient, Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am. Sure,
All right, very good.
Woman.
Thank you. All right, next item is the property for sale at the landfill location. We said we would continue to. I will let you know that the property that we were discussing on the front side as you go up to the landfill has been. So the only other option we have for any extra land up there is the land, I believe it's to the back part, Benny.
Yes, ma'am. It's actually the part that's more towards the Highway 91 side, and I think that is owned by the Blevinses.
Oh no.
I think
I will tell you that I received a text message from Ms. Blackwell, and she said she hadn't heard from us, and she wanted me to know that the land there on Minton Holler had been sold. I can tell you it was sold for $70,000. We've discussed the possibility of expanding the landfill, that we don't have that many more years on it. We can continue to discuss this as far as the Blevins property if you want to, and look for the future of what we might be able to do. That's totally up to the committee. Okay, I guess no one cares one way or the other.
I would like to ask, is the property that sold the one we done the core sample on, or?
We didn't do any core sample at the time. That's the one we were discussing that we had to do.
Okay.
That. And we would have to do that on the back part as well. This is one we were just discussing, and it was a big option, but we didn't have time to do all that.
Thank you.
But any property that we purchase, we do have to do all the core samples and see that it was going to be working, but we didn't have the 20,000 at that time to do it. That is correct, is it not, Benny?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we put that off because we were trying to get the ribbon and everything going at that time, but we have kept it on the agenda for that reason, and I will continue to keep this one on the agenda for the back part if you want me to.
Yes, keep it on the agenda, Ms. Cole.
All right, we'll just continue to try to keep an eye on the property and see if our Blevins members can help us out with that. All right, next item is bid for material for the recycling center. Benny, you want to address that again?
Yes, ma'am. I turned that over to the Building and Grounds Committee last month. I think Austin James with the Buildings and Grounds Committee is going to head that up as far as getting bids in on the addition to the recycle building.
And I will tell the committee that I was in the financial management meeting this morning, and I did address the bid process and the questions that we have. I was questioned as to why our bidding process is the only one that questioned the stipulations. And Benny is going to meet with Mr. Kennedy, and it will be brought back up again next month on financial management. So I will continue to look at the bidding process and what the problems have been. Now, if there's no more questions about any old business, we'll go to new business. Benny, I'm going to turn over the new business, such as the baler, the plastic recycling, and the employee, if you want to address all those.
The plastic recycling, we still are not taking plastics. As of right now, there's not a market for it. We are in works with a local company that is going to try to take this plastic and do some things with it. Not sure how far they can go with it. If it works out, we're going to be their default go-to for the plastics. So they've took several bales and they're doing testing on it. And they've been in correspondence with me back and forth. They're going to come and get another bale to do another breakdown of it to see how it's working. And hopefully in the next few months we'll know something on the plastic as far as if the local company can start taking it and processing it.
Yeah, Benny, am I correct to say that we were the last ones to stop taking recycled plastic in the last few months?
We was the last county in our region, our area, to stop taking plastics. I think the city of Johnson City may still take plastics. Sullivan County does not. Washington County does not. Johnson County does not. Unicoi County don't. Pretty much all of your counties around us have quit taking plastic.
Okay. Any questions on the plastic recycling? What are we doing about the baler now?
Well, we're still using the baler we have. We stay backed up. The cardboard stays out the door. If you was down there during the open process, you know where the baler's at and you know where the loading door is that you dump at. It stays out that door because the baler does not bale fast enough for what we're taking in.
But it's still working all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't think you've done anything on any employees since the budget just passed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I actually moved the part-time to full-time.
Okay.
I have already. So I'm going to be looking for the part-timer for the recycle center.
Okay, very good. Any questions from any committee member on any of these items?
I have one, Prophet.
Okay.
Benny.
Yes, sir.
Benny, in regards to the baler that we were talking about, now, have you seen a big increase in the materials coming in that need to be baled? And what I'm getting at, would you see a justification in maybe looking at getting a larger baler or maybe two balers? Would that be feasible to do that?
Mr. Prophet, if we had one of what they call the auto tie balers, as fast as you load those, it ties it and sends it out the other end. But the process we do is a manual tie baler. Once you get your bale made, you shut down and then you have to go up and run it through by hand. And then hand tie it, and that's what slows your process way down.
Well, what's your feeling on acquiring a new baler? Would it be I'm cost efficient to do this, or are you okay with what you got?
Well, I think if we're going to stay in the business of recycling, and with the volume that we have coming in now, we're kind of one of the only games in town that takes the waste management's cardboard, and they do cardboard all over. We bail. We're one of the main group in Kingsport went out of business there last year, and since they went out of business, they have bombarded us bringing material in there.
Well, in your opinion, would we need to maybe look at see what it would cost to get a new baler? Would it be cost efficient or not?
I think it would. I think it would pay for itself, over a course of several years. This baler's in there now is over, I think, 25 years old, but you're looking at probably $250,000, $300,000 for a new baler, and an auto tie baler.
Well, have you been keeping some kind of an average as to what the influx or what's being brought in as far as the materials to be baled? Have you got a monthly total as, say, I don't know how far you have to go back to see what kind of an increase per month that you're receiving or you're acquiring? How much material do you think?
I haven't kept a log of that as far as from what we did when we was in the old building before everything is shut down, before we got into this new building. I could say our input's almost probably doubled, maybe close to triple coming in.
Well, the reason I brought that up is if you could see a definite monthly increase in materials being brought in, then that would be more of a reason to justify the purchase of a new baler, would it not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
May I make a motion that Benny or Sonia, whoever, could look into companies? I guess we'll give Benny and see what the going price would be for one of these and what size that landfill would need, or Benny, what size you would need. Is that out of the question to do this?
That's fine if you want us to research it.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we do research the possibility of acquiring a new baler, an updated version of what we've got now.
I have a motion that we inquire about an updated version for the baler. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Is that
Mark Blevins, I'll second it.
Mark Blevins, okay, by second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, Benny, I'll get with you and we'll do a little research on that. Benny, I need to ask you a question while we're talking about the cost of a baler. What are we getting for cardboard at this time?
Well, it's actually come back up again. It's right at $60 a ton.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is director's report, and he's probably told us pretty much everything by me asking him for the new business. But Benny, do you have anything else you'd like to report?
I don't. I would just like to clarify something. Social media, there's been reports going around that the recycle center hasn't been open in 7 months. I know for a fact we're in there every day working. Unless the ghost is from over at Benberg's been in there doing it, I don't know who's been taking care of the business there.
CNN did that.
Well, I can assure you, brother, if anybody that's wondering if we're not open, go down there and look at all the bales everywhere that's waiting to be picked up and moved around. So, yeah, we're open. Thank you, Benny, very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments from any commissioner?
Ms. Caller?
Yes.
I know we've done discussed this, but I'd just like to run some numbers past some people real quick so they can just look at this. Okay, Benny said earlier, which not going back to the subject, but just on something, we done 4,518 from Blue Ridge in 8 months. Okay, so if you took that and divided that by 8, it gives you 564.75 per month. So if we times it by 12, that gives us 6,777 a year. Okay, if Blue Ridge was paying the same price as everybody else, if they stay, that's $9.90 increase. If you take that by the ton, that makes a $67,092.30 more a year. So, I mean, you know, I hope they stay. If they do, that's fine. If they don't, we got to look at what the losses is. But a $9.90 increase is going to be almost a little over $67,000. I mean, when you look at this, at what it's costing Benny to run, he could use that 67. That would buy that baler. I mean, there's things that would buy the extra people he needed. And I think that's all everybody is saying, is if this money is here, we know he can use it, but everybody's got to pay their fair share.
I don't disagree with that. It would be great if we can do that. I just hope we don't lose them, because we know we're going to lose over $152,000. So, you know, that's a chance we're taking with our motion.
I do understand. But on the other hand, you know, if they do have to pay even close to that somewhere else, convenience to being this close in this county does come at a price. And I mean, why should our county pay for other people's to make it off of? I agree with everybody, it needs to be fair. But, you know, like Mark's saying, we pulled $200,000 out of our fund balance. Well, there's $67,000 of it just with one company.
Okay. Any other comments?
Ms. Culler, Mr. Von Cannon asked me, Mr. Von Cannon did ask me to ask, I think, Benny about a fence or something about the fence.
Yes, sir. We are, I put the fence on the back burner because I want to get our building built first to make sure we have money left over to go towards the fence.
I believe, Mr. Tester and Ms. Culler, we voted for Benny to do that, was to use every dime he had to get that up and going. Then the fence was second.
That is correct.
In Benny's defense, we did tell him to take all his money and get everything going before the fence was in.
That is correct.
I understand, absolutely. I was asked, Mr. Von Cannon asked me that, so yes.
That's not a problem. We totally understand, Mr. Tester, and thank you for speaking up for him.
Ms. Culler?
Yes.
I do have a question.
Okay.
You said that if Blue Ridge left, that we would lose $151,000.
Well, that's what we made in 8 months.
Well, if we don't know how much it's costing us to process that trash exactly with benefits, insurance, and everything, then we don't know. You have to deduct the cost of doing business from that $151,000, correct?
I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Tester, let me ask you something on the benefits and the insurance. Whether or not Blue Ridge is there, that man that runs that loader has to be there 8 hours a day per the state. Is that right?
Well, what I'm saying, Benny, is your cost of doing business. Yes, I see that man's got to be there, okay? But what I'm saying, we need to have an idea. I mean, I don't care to break even in anything, but we'd like to see this. I would like to see this thing to where that you had money for new equipment, you had money to buy a baler, but you have to know what your actual cost per ton it's costing you before you know where you can set the rate. Is that a fair statement?
Sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Well, again, if the county was putting any money into the landfill, we would have money for equipment, but that's another time for another discussion. Any other comments?
Well, I've got one, but you more or less answered my question, Ms. Culler. I was going to ask about the other counties and where they were assisted by the county, a budget to assist the landfills, and why do we not have such a fund set up in Carter County to help back up the shortfalls within the landfill, just like what we were talking about if Blue Ridge pulled out. If we had this system set up, it would take care of that shortfall somewhat, anyway.
That is correct, Mr. Prophet. But it's been a self-sustaining business ever since I've been in the commission, except before Benny took it over, they were requesting money from the county every month. And once Benny took over, that ceased, and he's been trying to maintain it on what he earns.
Miss Kohler, if I can ask, and I know we've looked at this, and this is nothing toward nobody or Benny or nothing. If the county was to put something into it where they had something, how many pennies would we be talking? Because at some point, not finding it, where they're going to have to raise taxes to cover it, or cover it with something that we had. What would be a price, you think?
I'm not sure if Benny's done any figuring on that, but I'll ask him.
Ms. Color?
Yes.
Now, from like I said on the budget committee, we took, I'm gonna say roughly $245,000 out this year of the general fund to subsidize the solid waste. So that is actually taxpayer money that is being put in to the solid waste.
Benny, can you address that on your budget?
I can address it a little bit. That money was appropriated to my knowledge, but I don't think it's been put in there yet. I think that's going to happen if we come up short. Is that correct?
That was my understanding.
Now, from my understanding, it was taken out of the general fund and used to end your budget, which was, I think, was $1.some million. I can't remember off my head, but that was a portion of your total budget was taken out of the general fund to fund the solid waste.
Mr. Tester, I can't answer for sure, but I don't think my budget has been totally completed yet by the finance office as far as money's added to the different line items. I think that's basically the way Mr. Burke did that. He based it on what he had estimated would come in this year, not actual.
So if it doesn't come in, then they've said that they would take it out of general fund to complete the budget.
I think that's how it is.
So I tell you what, Mr. Chester, if you will, let me and Benny do some research on that. And if you'll come back to the committee meeting at next month, we'll be glad to discuss it.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Angie.
I'm with Mark. I'd like to have some more information up because we passed this as a county commission as a budget with everybody, and I believe, I mean, how did we pass it if we didn't have an actual number?
Gary,
I mean, how do you pass a not knowing? We had to have a number that was in there that we passed, because now that the schools has done theirs, they're ratifying it and sending it to the state this week.
Benny's budget is always based on the option of what was taken in this past year and what we assume will be taken in next year.
But there's still a fine line item that they said this is the number. Now, if it comes up short, yes, you're right. And it comes up over, well, then that's it. But we had to have a set number that we passed.
And he did have a budget number, but again, that's based on the possibility of revenue that will be coming in. No assurance of that.
Okay. Well, I'm done.
Any other comments? Benny, any comment from you?
no, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn. I second it.
Thank y'all.
Motion by Prophet, second by Gary, I believe. All in favor, I guess hang up. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen.
Thank y'all.
Good night.
Bye.